What's wrong with racing? Part 2. I think we saw a dramatic example of it yesterday um, when we had 3 races in one day. We started off with the Grand Prix of Monaco at Monte Carlo, and it was about as exciting as watching a roulette wheel that didn't stop. F1 cars just going around in circles, very little passing, etc. Nico Rosberg did do a good job in winning the race, but there was no drama, no action. It was just round and round, curve after curve. So we have to give that one a minus XXX as far as drama and entertainment is concerned. Next one in this feast for race fans was the Indy 500. And it was a terrific race, won by some daring moves by J.P. Montoya himself, who Roger Penske, old Cap, won his 16th Indy 500 yesterday as a car owner, and he did it with Montoya behind the wheel, who was extremely daring as he came from 30th place to win the race in a real battle with willpower at the end. Old JP, he still got it, and the captain, Roger Penske, took a big chance when he grabbed Montoya after his years in exile, you might say, in NASCAR, and came back to win his second Indy 500. They had a terrific crowd, the best crowd I've seen at Indy in years. I think a lot of it had that to do with the drama beforehand when we had several cars crash spectacularly, and there was footage of it all over the TV, and that led to people wanting to come out and see, and it was a good crowd. Dramatic racing, a lot of passing for the lead. Again, these cars running 220 plus, but there was a lot of passing for the lead, and that leads to the third race, which was yesterday evening, the Coca-Cola 600. Was it exciting? Well, if you ask Carl Edwards, it was, because the old flipper, and I was glad to see him win, by the way. He needed it. It's been a while. Drove his Toyota to victory in a gamble on fuel that at the end paid off to outrun a pretty spectacular field. Sorry to say, however, that the dreaded aero push that has diseased racing in many places for the past 5 to 10 years, depending on who's counting, has hit NASCAR big time again, and it was very apparent last week in the All-Star race when Denny Hamlin jumped out in front of Kevin Harvick in that $1 million to win 10-lap dash, which ended up about as exciting as watching water boil, because once Denny got in the lead, he was gone. Again, the aero push, the reason for it. No passing for the lead with that aero push. I'll get to this back to the 600 and Carl Edwards. So let me go back to what we call the dreaded aero push. The aero push happens in NASCAR, particularly on mile-and-a-half tracks, when the lead car, whoever becomes the lead car, takes off in clean air, and they are gone. Usually a 300 to 600 foot lead within 10 laps after a pit stop or after a green flag starts the race. This is what happened, of course, like I said, in the All-Star race, but it also happened time and again at Charlotte at the 600, because after a caution flag, whoever got out in front, he got in that clean air and he was gone. We've got to stop this aero push, because with the aero push, what you don't get is repassing for the lead, back and forth passing. And I think that's a big reason why people come to races. They want to see guys go back and forth for the lead, like we used to, and existed in Indianapolis. We saw a lot of back and forth passing in Indianapolis. Now, how do we stop this? What do we do? Well, there's a lot of people say we can't. Well, all you had to do is look at that truck race Friday night. That was one of the best races we've ever seen, the truck race at Charlotte. won on a last lap dash by about a foot by Casey Kane. What an interesting race that was. Now, look at the trucks. Trucks got a big flat front end. They got a kind of a flat windshield. And they don't have near the aero push as any other types of stock cars. Whether they be NASCAR or they're running on asphalt somewhere else. We have got to get rid of this aero push. Now, Carl Edwards did a great job. Love the flipper and love him doing the backflip again after a rather lengthy period of time where he hasn't won. I think Carl's probably going to win 3 or 4 races the rest of the year because I think he's hit on something and he's a heck of a race driver. Now, with the aero push though, he knows he's got to get out in the lead. Once he gets out in the lead, he's taking off. Now, is that fun for fans? No, it isn't fun for fans. Now, this has been going on long enough. We've got to do something about it. But you say, what are you going to do? Well, you know, NASCAR and everybody in it's been working on it for, several years, been working on it hard in the last year or two. What's happened? Nothing. It's still there. Now, if you got to put a locomotive front end on the car, if you got to slant the front windshield, if you got to put a strip across the top of the car from drip rail to drip rail, whatever it takes, we need to get, and I'm not talking about making the cars look funny. These are subtle changes that will change what and how we race in NASCAR's Premier Division. And when that problem's solved and we get back to passing for the lead, that's where you get rubbing. That's where you get rivalries. You can't have a rivalry with a couple of guys smacking each other around in 7th or 8th place. It's got to be for the front. That's where the drama is. That's what creates drama. If we could get rid of this aero push, and we need to do it quickly, NASCAR can return to its glory days. I'm telling you, that's what we need right now. We got great cars. We got super drivers. We got great TV coverage. We just need to get rid of that aero push. So you've heard me talk about this for a while. This needs to be done right away. We've had enough of this to last us forever. And it's not helping things. It's hurting things. And matter of fact, I think it's probably one of the single biggest reasons why people are not coming to races today that came, say, 10, 15 years ago. And a lot of people share this feeling. And a lot of people I talked to at Charlotte last weekend said, oh, it can't be done, it can't be solved, it's just the way it is. Wrong. We went to the moon. This is maybe easier than going to the moon. We've just got to figure out how to do it. No matter what it takes, it's got to be done. It's the biggest problem in racing today. It's what made the Indianapolis race a great race. They did not have the aero push. They had close race and they had back and forth running for the lead. Charlotte did. Any mile and a half, 2 mile track that we run on, and even it affects Daytona and Talladega somewhat, has got this dreaded air push. We just need to get rid of it.